Diverse learners. People ask me all the time, what are diverse learners? Or what is the differentiated learner? Differentiated learner or exceptional learner is a learner that isn't like everyone else. They feel like they don't belong. They're in a classroom filled with kids, filled with noise, sitting in a certain way, being told when to eat, when to go to the washroom, and they just feel like they don't belong. And I don't know if you know how important it is to feel like you belong. In fact, it is one of the basic needs in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The sense of belonging, the sense of community, the sense of being respected and loved for who you are. And so here at Agora Prep, we are always about belonging. We're always about making children know that they need to celebrate their weirdness, their oddities, their quirks, what makes them who they are. Diversity means change or difference. And I believe that differences is truly what makes us who we are, not how we are the same. It's how much we can contribute to this world with our own unique set of talents and skills. 4 years ago, I had nowhere to go. I had 3 children going to public school, and each were thriving in their own way and actually failing in their own way as well. And I am an educator for 25 years. I've studied psychology. I've worked with neurodiversity. I've worked with giftedness. And I realized that being a parent is so hard because you want to make this decision for your children that's going to enable them or disable them for the rest of their life. It's a huge decision. And even I, with my years in experience in education and in psychology, felt a little bit handicapped when it comes to making a decision for my kids. It was almost debilitating how powerful my decision was going to be, what the impact, the ramifications of what I wanted to do was. And when the lockdowns happened, it was like a gift from God to me. He was also telling me that, look, you have this power, you have this talent, you have this passion. You need to make something of it. So as I sat there very disgruntled at how my kids were being educated, I took a front seat to their education when they were online, and I was listening to what they were being taught. And I thought to myself, I could do better than that. I could do better by them, just keeping them at home. And I thought to myself, can I even homeschool them? I don't even know if I could do that. The dynamic between mother and child is so different than teacher and child. And so I decided to do what they're doing, to inspire myself, but also to be an inspiration to them. And I took a Harvard course, a program called Leaders of Learning. I finished it very quickly because I loved everything about it. I soaked it all up. And we were in lockdown, so it's not like there was anything better to do. And when I graduated, I realized that moment, I closed my laptop and I graduated from that program and I said, I'm starting a school. Diversity isn't always visible. Differences are not always visible. Sometimes children look like your typical child, but they are fighting invisible anxiety. They're fighting an inability to read words in the proper way. And we don't see that. We just expect the same of every child all the time, which is insane to me. And so being a mom of these 3 amazing children who are different in so many different ways, I decided to start this school. And then I realized I'm not alone. There are so many parents out there that want to homeschool their kids, but can't for whatever purpose. They need double incomes for their home. They have a baby at home, so they can't focus on the older students. I have parents who are so talented. They can easily homeschool their children, but they want the social aspect for their kids. They want their kids to be homeschooled, but not at home. And so I was able to provide that. I created a home-like atmosphere, a community clubhouse, an irregular, alternative, and informal atmosphere. And I brought these kids together and I started attracting all these families that had the same fears I did. And I was human enough, transparent enough to share with them that I started the school because I was scared. It wasn't because I felt like I'm above the law and I want to break the law, because I did start it during the lockdowns when every school was shut down. I opened my school, which is like the complete opposite of what people think someone should be doing. I was told I was crazy. I was called names. But I found that there was a need for my students, my children, and I had a firm belief that they needed to be in an open environment where they are being respected and socialized rather than being at home afraid to breathe God's air. So I went against the grain. I rebelled. And in my defiance, I'm encouraging my students to be just as defiant. To subject themselves to conformity is the worst kind of punishment. What we need to do is question assumptions and always really challenge what is being asked of us, because that's the only way we can develop critical. So we need to change and disempower disability. We need to empower ability and strength and knowledge and information and data sharing and socialization. All these things need to be so important to us. And I promise you that now that families have grown with me and they've seen what I've done for the past 3 years in their children's lives, they can never go back. They can't go back to public school. They can't go back to homeschooling. They see that this method is most effective. I've seen it in my own kids. So that's why I started Agora. And I think that this is what makes us so unique in our vision. There's something about being on this journey with these kids and their families that is just, like I said, next level.
Yeah.
It's transcendent. And I just been so privileged. And right now I'm getting calls from high schools of students that came to Agora and they went there and the teacher's like, what have you even taught these kids? How do they know so much? And I'm like, we didn't teach them anything. We guided them in what they wanted to learn. And it's such an effective method of learning. So this change, it's powerful. And it like gives me butterflies and it scares me like anything. But if it doesn't scare you to death, it's not worth doing.